Welcome back to Skytech-Lens. For decades, Detroit's Big Three and Japanese automakers like Toyota and Honda reigned supreme in the American South, shaping the region's economy and identity. Their factories dotted the landscape, their dealerships lined the highways, and their vehicles became a familiar sight in driveways from Texas to the Carolinas. But everything changed when Hyundai arrived on the scene, determined to carve out its own legacy in a fiercely competitive market. The South Korean carmaker saw untapped potential in the heart of Dixie. In Alabama and Georgia, Hyundai didn't just build factories, they laid the foundation for entire communities. Their vision extended beyond manufacturing, aiming to transform the region into a modern automotive powerhouse. New industrial parks sprang up, and sleepy towns began to buzz with new energy and hope. At the heart of this transformation was Hyundai's Montgomery plant, a sprawling facility that quickly became a hub of innovation and productivity. Here, thousands of workers assembled popular models like the Santa Fe and Tucson, vehicles that would soon become household names across America. The plant's success rippled outward, attracting suppliers and creating a network of opportunity. Meanwhile, Hyundai's bold investment in the Georgia Meta plant signaled a new era. This state-of-the-art facility was designed to lead the charge into the future of electric vehicles, positioning the South as a key player in the global EV revolution. The promise of high-tech jobs and sustainable innovation drew national attention. Hyundai's investments didn't just create jobs, they sparked a ripple effect throughout the region. Nearly 200,000 people found work, from assembly line technicians to logistics experts, and from engineers to cafeteria staff. The company's presence revitalized local economies, giving families new reasons to stay and build their futures in the South. Billions of dollars flowed into the U.S. economy, fueling growth not just for Hyundai but for countless small businesses and suppliers. Local restaurants, housing developments, and service providers all benefited from the economic boom, as Hyundai's success became intertwined with the prosperity of entire communities. Recognizing the need for a skilled workforce, local governments and technical colleges partnered with Hyundai to launch training programs and apprenticeships. These initiatives empowered young people with valuable skills, ensuring a steady pipeline of talent for the growing industry and giving hope to a new generation. Around Hyundai's plants, a thriving ecosystem of suppliers and logistics companies took root. From auto parts manufacturers to trucking firms, the entire supply chain flourished, creating a web of opportunity that stretched across state lines and supported thousands of additional jobs. For many, Hyundai became more than just a car company. It was a symbol of prosperity and progress. Families celebrated new beginnings with their first Hyundai, while employees took pride in building vehicles that would travel the nation's roads. The Hyundai logo, once unfamiliar, now represented hope and opportunity. For countless families, receiving the keys to a new Hyundai marked the start of a brighter chapter in their lives. Hyundai's reputation for quality, reliability, and value grew rapidly. The company became a local hero, winning awards and earning the trust of American consumers, while also establishing itself as a global powerhouse in the automotive world. But with such deep integration into the American economy, Hyundai's fortunes became tied to the unpredictable tides of global trade and politics. The company's American dream now depended on a world that was constantly shifting. As Hyundai thrived, few realized just how vulnerable it was to changes in international relations, trade policies, and economic uncertainty. The very success that made Hyundai a Southern champion also exposed it to new risks. The stage was set for a dramatic test, one that would challenge the foundations of Hyundai's Southern success and determine whether the company could weather the storms ahead. The American South had found a new champion in Hyundai, a company that brought hope, jobs, and innovation. But as the winds of change began to blow, one question lingered. How long could this new era of prosperity last? The answer would soon be put to the test, as Hyundai faced challenges that would shape not only its own future, but the destiny of the entire region it helped transform. Hyundai's success relied on global supply chains and local manufacturing. But a wave of protectionism hit. New U.S. tariffs imposed a 25% tax on Hyundai imports, higher than those on Japanese rivals. Suddenly, Hyundai's affordable cars became pricier, with costs rising by thousands per vehicle. Profits plunged, and the company was forced to cut margins and raise prices, threatening its competitive edge. The southern plants, once booming, now faced uncertainty as the global production model collided with nationalist trade policies. Hyundai's American dream was under siege, squeezed by politics and economics. The company's ability to deliver value was at risk. The next blow would be even more direct and more disruptive. The crisis was just beginning. On the morning of September 4, 2025, a sense of normalcy was shattered at Hyundai's Georgia Metaplant construction site. Without warning, federal agents swept through the gates, their presence signaling a dramatic turn in what had been one of the most ambitious industrial projects in the United States. The raid was swift and unexpected, catching workers, managers, and even local officials off guard. Nearly 500 workers were detained in a matter of hours, among them dozens of highly skilled South Korean engineers who had been flown in to oversee the plant's cutting-edge technology. The site, once buzzing with activity and optimism, fell silent as authorities escorted employees off the premises. The multi-billion-dollar electric vehicle project, a cornerstone of Hyundai's global strategy, was brought to an abrupt halt overnight. The sudden loss of specialized talent and leadership brought all progress to a grinding standstill. Machinery sat idle, assembly lines were abandoned, and crucial shipments were frozen in transit. Project timelines, once carefully mapped out, were now in tatters, leaving suppliers and partners in limbo. Outrage quickly spread across the Pacific. The South Korean government condemned the raid in the strongest terms, calling into question not only the legality of the operation, but also the treatment of its citizens working legally on American soil. Protests erupted outside government buildings, and diplomats demanded answers. The incident sent shockwaves through the global business community. Boardrooms from Seoul to New York buzzed with concern, as executives and investors reevaluated the risks of doing business in the U.S. The country's reputation as a stable and welcoming destination for foreign investment was suddenly under intense scrutiny. For Hyundai, the raid was nothing short of catastrophic. The company's flagship U.S. investment, once a symbol of international cooperation and innovation, now faced an uncertain future. The sprawling site, draped in police tape, became a stark reminder of how quickly fortunes can change. Local officials and company leaders scrambled to understand what had gone wrong. Emergency meetings were called, legal teams mobilized, and frantic calls were made to state and federal authorities in search of answers and solutions. The partnership that had once promised prosperity and growth for both nations now teetered on the edge. Trust, painstakingly built over years of negotiation, was suddenly in jeopardy. The future of Hyundai's American vision and ambitious plan to lead the EV revolution now hung in the balance. The unfinished plant stood as a symbol of both hope and uncertainty. For investors and industry leaders, the cost of political risk had never been clearer. The events of that day would echo far beyond the factory gates, forcing a global reckoning with the fragile nature of international business. The twin crises of tariffs and the immigration raid rippled through Georgia and Alabama. Hyundai workers and suppliers faced layoffs and slashed orders as car sales dropped. Local businesses, from restaurants to real estate, felt the pinch as uncertainty spread. Tax revenues shrank, threatening public services and community programs. Families worried about mortgages and job prospects. Students questioned the future of their training. The optimism that once defined the region faded, replaced by anxiety and doubt. The crisis revealed how deeply global politics could impact everyday lives. When international tensions hit home, it's ordinary people who pay the price. The stakes for the South had never been higher. Hyundai refused to retreat. Instead, the company saw challenge as opportunity and doubled down on its commitment to the American market. While other automakers hesitated, Hyundai's leadership gathered in boardrooms, determined to chart a bold new course. They knew the stakes were high, but so were the potential rewards. In September 2025, Hyundai announced a massive $2.7 billion expansion of its Georgia plant. This wasn't just about increasing capacity, it was a statement of intent. The company aimed to produce 500,000 vehicles annually, transforming the facility into one of the largest auto manufacturing hubs in North America. The expansion would create thousands of new jobs, boost local economies, and signal Hyundai's long-term vision for the region. But Hyundai knew that building cars wasn't enough. The company launched a major lobbying push for immigration reform, arguing that skilled foreign workers were vital for America's electric vehicle ambitions. Executives met with lawmakers, emphasizing that innovation and competitiveness depended on attracting global talent. They made the case that America's future as a leader in green technology hinged on welcoming the best minds from around the world. At the same time, Hyundai accelerated its localization strategy. The company pledged that by 2030, 80% of its U.S. sales would be American-made. This wasn't just about patriotism, it was a calculated move to build trust with American consumers, create stable jobs, and ensure resilience in a rapidly changing global market. The goal was clear: shield itself from unpredictable tariffs and align with new political realities. By manufacturing more vehicles and sourcing more parts domestically, Hyundai could protect its business from trade disputes and shifting regulations. Hyundai also diversified its lineup, investing heavily in hybrids and launching a new midsize pickup to reach more customers. The company recognized that American drivers wanted choices: fuel-efficient hybrids, rugged trucks, and innovative electric vehicles. By broadening its offerings, Hyundai aimed to capture a larger share of the market and appeal to a wider range of buyers. This flexible, forward-thinking approach was a pragmatic bet on both survival and growth. Hyundai's leaders understood that adaptability was the key to thriving in uncertain times. The company doubled down on America, even as the ground shifted beneath its feet. It was a bold move, but one that reflected Hyundai's belief in the American dream and its own ability to shape the future. Hyundai's future, and the South's, would depend on its ability to adapt, innovate, and lead. The gamble was on, and the world was watching to see if Hyundai's high-stakes bet would pay off. Hyundai's bold response showed its commitment to the US, but also exposed a deeper problem. Sudden policy shifts and protectionism now threatened the very foreign investment America once courted. Tariffs and immigration raids send a chilling message: the rules can change overnight. This uncertainty risks driving away not just Hyundai but future investors across industries. America wants to lead in manufacturing and EVs, yet its own policies are hindering progress. Hyundai's stalled Georgia Meta plant is a symbol of this contradiction. The question now: will the US create a stable, welcoming environment for global partners? The answer will shape thousands of jobs, and America's reputation as a place to do business. The stakes are immense. The world is watching. Thanks for watching. Subscribe the channel for more updates.